Hi, today we'll be coding a zipper thingy like the one seen here. So let's get started, and we start with a number of segments, let's say 64, and then we're going to have a loop where we decrement this number, and then we're going to have the segment elements, and each have in a style attribute a custom property which is basically their index and is n decremented at that level. Okay, then also on the body we want to set n again in a style attribute. So this is going to be its value before we start decrementing it, and of course we need to indent stuff properly. Okay, so having done this, let's move on here, and on the body we're going to set a background. Okay, so it's not white anymore because it kind of bothers my eyes at night like this. Okay, not quite black. Now let's get started with the segments, and we're going to start with some dimensions. So we're going to have a width, so let's say something like 5 ems. We're also going to have a height, I don't know, 6 pixels, something. Okay, we're going to set that width, we're going to set the height, we're also going to set display flex, and then we're going to have the before and after children. Of course they need content, otherwise nothing's going to show up, but what we want to set is flex 1, and let's also set border radius. This is going to be half the height. Okay, so before we see anything we need to set a background. This is not going to be too obvious. Let's also set a margin. So this is going to be 0 vertically and 1 pixel horizontally, just so that we have a bit of space in between them. But yeah, that black is not too visible on the dark background, so we're just going to take this, and here we're actually going to have a linear gradient, and let's say 90 degrees, and that list. Okay, now it's starting to look like something. Something else I want to set here is a switch, which is 0 on the before, and then we change its value to 1 on the after. So I is going to be 1 on the after, and then we compute something like a sine. This is going to be calc 1 minus I times 2, so 2 times I. Okay, so having done this, here we can use a calc, and this is going to be the sine, okay, times 90 degrees, and actually we want in the middle, the dark part. So yeah, I think it looks better like this. Let's format stuff in a way that looks better. Okay, so having done this, let's also absolutely position stuff. Absolute top 50%, left 50%. Then we're also going to set a transform. So first off, we start with a translate, and just place this stuff right in the middle. So minus 50%, minus 50%. Then we're going to have rotate, and this is going to be a calc. The index k over the total number of segments n times 1 turn. So this should do it, and then we're going to have translate. This is going to be pretty random at first, and we're going to compute a proper value in a little while. This is too big. Okay, so this is the thing, we don't want this radius to be too big, and we don't want it to be too small. So basically we want the height of those segments, so you see the thickness of those segments, to be half the edge of a regular polygon. So imagine this is the polygon and we want the thickness of those segments to be half an edge, and half an edge is going to be equal to VM. So if we know the number of edges, then we can find out this angle right here. So this is going to be half the central angle, and the central angle is 360 degrees, or 2 pi, divided by the number of edges. So the number of edges is n in our case, and that's going to be half of 2 pi divided by n. Okay, so knowing this, we can get OM, because VM over OM is the tangent of half the central angle. So OM is going to be VM over the tangent. So we can compute the tangent, and we're going to compute it right here in the HTML where we have the number of edges. So tangent, and as I said, it's going to be half of 2 pi over n. Sorry about that. Okay, so here we can set it as a custom property to that value we just computed. So now we can pass it to the CSS, and here we can have calc, and half that edge is the height over the tangent, and we actually want to add half the width as well, just slightly bigger. Okay, so this looks nice. Something else we want to do here is make the before rotate around the inner end and the after rotate around the outer end. So that's going to be transform origin, calc I times 100%. The second value is going to be 50% if you don't specify it, so that's fine. So this means we can set a transform rotate. This is going to be calc, and we can set that sign times, I don't know, 60 degrees or something like that. Let's see how it looks. I think we can increase this. I don't know, 69. Is that too much? Let's make it 68. Not much of a difference. Okay, so let's just take this out for now, and we're going to move on to the animation. So keyframes, zip, and let's decide upon a percentage. So this is going to be, let's say, 50%. We can change it later if we want. So oh, what have I done? Okay, so 0% and up to that percentage we have transform none. Then we're going to have half that percentage plus 100%, so that's the midway between that percentage and 100%, and then up to 100%, and we're going to set that transform from before, so something like that. Also, we want to set an animation duration, so let's say 1 second. Okay, now having done this, let's move on to the animation, a zip, that animation duration, infinite, alternate. So now we can have something like an animation duration here. So this is going to be k over n, so this is basically a progress, -1 times twice the animation duration, so something like this. So yeah, this looks pretty good. One more thing we can do is do something like ease out, and we can control how big that thing is by controlling this value. So let's say this is going to be something like 80%, then as you can see it's going to be a lot smaller, but if we make it something like 30%, it's going to be a lot bigger, that gap there. So let's leave it at 50%, and you can tweak stuff on your own. This is going to be linked in the description, as well as this demo right here, and the inspiration and everything else. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you like the work that I've been putting out for over 8 years now, please consider supporting it to help me get by. You can do so by being a cool cat and becoming a patron on Patreon, which comes with certain perks like seeing stuff in advance and seeing stuff that may never be made public. Or you can get me something off my Amazon wishlist, or you can at least share this to show the world what can be done with CSS these days, because honestly, I think it's pretty damn cool. In any event, thanks for watching, and until next time.